It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock here in Phoenix, Arizona, day after Thanksgiving. We're just chilling today. Now, we're going to have a guest on after the top of the hour in the second hour. And, you know, I hesitate doing that. Let me tell you what's going on. Her name is Ilana Friedman, and she's a private consultant for security. She's represents one of the companies that is definitely going to get a contract. You know, they're looking for some contracts. You know, TSA, they're doing it all wrong. It's all wrong. You need to have us. You know, we'll take care of it for you. You know, if you want it done right and have security, and you know, we're feared. Ain't you feared? We're feared, and you need us to help walk you through all the problems that we have. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how one of these companies wants to, as a consulting group, and of course they have contacts and so on with Homeland Security and such, that they want to be able to provide for our security. And I'm wondering if they're going to address war. You know, this is one thing that we went through this last week as we tried to make it very clear, and we had some fun with the TSA thing a couple days ago and such, but the one thing that we kept trying to emphasize, we get a lot of press, you know, a lot of local television and so on came in, had some national coverage and attention on the issue, but they would never bring up the idea that all of this goes away if you just stop killing people, stop bombing. It seems like that is going to have to be the focus of activism for, ever. That the understanding that the problems that we're having is because we're just making people angry. And I want to bring this one thing up. There was after the Oklahoma City bombing, there was a piece done immediately by L. Neil Smith. Now, he's a prolific writer for libertarian causes, and he's a science fiction novelist, and he immediately said, you know, big government's to blame. Oklahoma City bombing, federal building, children killed, everything, big government did it. Without even knowing, you know, what happened or even what their rhetoric was going to be. I mean, of course, immediately they got their own spin on whatever they wanted to say happened. As time goes on, we're finding out, you know, there were multiple bombs and all this other stuff. And, you know, same kind of stuff. That was our 9/11, you know, of our generation. So, and along with Waco and Ruby Ridge and all the other, what happened was he made the argument that if it was foreign terrorists that were angry with America for socially and economically engineering them with a M1 Abrams or a Apache attack helicopter or F-16s or an M16 on the corner, you can pretty much see their motivation was big U.S. government out there making sure you didn't resist their authority. Well, he goes, what if it was domestic terrorists? A big militia thing was going on. That was, kind of the push then. And he's going, well, what if they're angry about being socially and economically engineered from Big Bubba, Big Sis government here? Do you blame big government? What if it was big government that just wanted to get a budget increase? They wanted more power, more intrusiveness, more abilities to control every aspect of your life. Big government. So the point that he was making is big government's to blame for all this. If we did away with this big government thing, you just wouldn't have these problems. during that time, I was raising a family. We were started getting active in 1988. We're young 20-something-year-olds, my wife and I, and we had just had our fourth child. So we have 2 boys, 2 girls, and they're from 21 to 25 right now. Well, they grew up during all of this, and they know the rhetoric behind this, mom and dad doing whatever, and their friends, and they're saying, and then the kids at school, and then they'd see us on the news, and it'd come out, and they'd have a perspective. Over time, we're going to spend a little bit of time with my producer now is Sierra. Now, Sierra is 21 now, and she's a beautiful young woman that is just getting involved as helping me. We were just getting so overwhelmed with all of the responsibilities that we have to run Freedom's Phoenix and doing the show and all the activism and everything. I needed help. I was just no getting around it, and I knew nobody better than my youngest daughter, Sierra. And her schedule changed, and she had an opportunity to make herself available, and it just kind of evolved into she's an integral part now. So she's always like, oh, no, Dad, you're not putting me on the video, So we just, throw some pictures up here, and so you can see, what she looks like along with her sister. And it's we'll go ahead and put that up. She didn't want to be on camera because she's a fear. But what we'll go ahead and do is have a conversation with her a little bit. And the reason is that I want to make sure that people understand from another perspective, the youth. I was able to really get a lot of understanding because they were part of a generation that was getting, and this is a photograph of my oldest daughter, Rhea, and Sierra, and just last year, right before Rhea's wedding, they were getting all ready for that and everything, so she's all dolled up. Now, the thing that I wanted to share with you guys is that as a father that had 4 children in the same junior high and high school with all their friends and so on, and I brought this up, I wanted to share this with you today because every Thanksgiving they have what they call Turkey Bowl, and it is all the former football players from their school just show up on the football field at their school where they went to school here in Central Phoenix, and they just play, well, it was tackle until people got hurt and they're losing teeth and stuff. So now they have a 2-hand touch, and you'll have 40, 50 guys out there, and they'll play for hours, until they're, dropping dead. And, my son meets with these guys, and they ask, how things going there, and you just kind of get an idea over time how their families are doing, how they're finding work, how are they surviving, how are they supporting themselves, are they married, are they having kids, are they preparing for do they even know what's going on? This perspective is very useful for me, and it's what gave me a lot of insight into how the internet was going to be used. Keep in mind, the early days of YouTube, we started putting together, even though we had the concept from Freedom's Phoenix back in 95, 96, we didn't launch it until 05 because we were waiting for YouTube or something like that so that you could be able to broadcast video, instantaneously on the internet and people have access, so you could be a challenge as individuals, as activists, so that you could demonstrate what we already knew, that the lamestream media, the media that's so last century, these guys are the PR department for the man. They know where their bread is buttered, I guess. I don't understand. You'll have them, and we had a great example this week, where we had the interviews that they would do, and I did my best, man. I mean, every sentence was, you do away with the wars, you do away with the pat-downs. You stop bombing and killing people, you don't have to get screened. You don't have checkpoints. You stop socially and economically engineering people around the planet, you don't have these problems. So Sierra scheduled this woman, Ilana Friedman, and she is going to represent an industry that has been built up around these threats. When I ask her, and I'll just prep you, she doesn't know, I'm sure, or maybe she's listening or doesn't, it doesn't matter. And I'll prep it when we talk to her, and I'll say, look, would all this go away if we just stop killing people? How will she respond? How does the young generation respond? Generation Next! How are they responding to a world constantly at war? We'll talk about more when we come back on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock. We'll visit with Sierra in just a little bit.